So, Ab, what the heck is communication?
Oh my goodness. Well, we all talk about communication, how essential it is, how most of us aren't very good at it. The Oxford Dictionary defines it as the imparting or exchanging of information. And that can be by speaking, writing, or some other medium. And another version is the successful conveying of sharing of ideas and feelings. And that is really significant. We say that communication certainly does include imparting and exchanging information, but ultimately for the relationships that matter the most, to really move them forward into deeper levels, being able to convey how you feel and the ideas that you have, and being in a safe enough relationship that you feel like you can, you think that you can go forward with sharing who you are, is really incredibly significant. And over the last decade of working on relationships, that's one of the key things that we've identified, is that safety in the relationship really is dependent on creating a great exchange of ideas, feelings, and being able to listen to each other well.
Yeah, and so really the first definition to me is very transactional, right? It's that back and forth, but then as that transformation can really happen at those next levels of those ideas and feelings. So when we look at how we communicate, it's really interesting because we communicate really two different ways. On the left-hand side, verbally. These are our literal words. This isn't everything in how we say it. Literally, it's the words coming out of my mouth. Anything else I do will be on the right-hand side.
Indeed. And in fact, the words that we're using are only a percentage of what people receive, because we receive the tone of the voice and the gestures, the eye contact, the facial expression, even what you're doing by crossing your arms or how far away you are from me when I talk. Those kinds of messages actually also get communicated to me. So when I hear you say, I'll be late for dinner, I hope that's okay with you, I hear the way you say that, the way your body is when you say it, maybe the speed even in how you say it. Mm-hmm. And I'm interpreting all those messages, not just the words, because people say, but this is what I said. You can parse that out all day long. It's not just what you said. It's how you said it. Mm-hmm. And maybe also just as important is how I perceived you said it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because we've worked with a lot of people over the years, and in our own marriage and in our own parenting, where someone can say they're sorry, right? I'm sorry, right? But the way they say it, there's no meaning behind that. Right. What they're really saying is, I'm not really sorry. But right. Then they say, what? I said I'm sorry. What do you want from me? Well, for you to meet it. Or there's an eye roll or something like that. And it really does impact on a much greater level than what's actually being said.
Yes. And then that person's so justified. What? I just said I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But they really didn't.
They didn't.
Yeah, but they think they did. It's complicated.
It's complicated. Relationships are hard.
That's why we're here.
That's right.
Relationships are hard.
Relationships are hard. And so there are some goals in communication. And I love you use this example, and I love that you use it. So I'm going to let you share.
I love that you're affirming me. Golly, words of affirmation.
Yeah, I love this example you used.
That tone doesn't convince me. You really like it. Okay, so I don't know where I got this idea, but when I think about speaker and listener and really being intentional to connect with each other, I think of playing catch. And this means that as a speaker, I'm throwing you a thought. I'm throwing you my feelings, my perceptions, whatever it may be. And the whole goal in playing catch is that the other person's going to try to catch it. Mm-hmm. I mean, it wouldn't be a good game of catch if you were too far back to even have a shot at it or to close your arms off.
Or if you
being like,
if you throw a fast pitch. This is really funny, by the way, is that Abigail is the most unsports person. And you are using this as an example.
They didn't have to know that. They could have perceived me as this sports fanatic.
Until they got to know you. But there's one thing for me to throw the ball where I want you to catch it, versus a pitcher who's like throwing a 95-mile-per-hour fastball and trying to get it past home plate, right? And so often that's the way we toss words around.
We do. Imagine even throwing a ball when you're doing it over your head while you're standing backwards, kind of lobbing it over to them in some
blindfolded.
Yeah, some strange format. No, we're talking about like a really good game of catch when the speaker's throwing a ball in a way that the listener has a really strong shot of catching it. And the listener is really holding out the mitt there, really trying to catch.
Trying to catch it.
Yes,
Yeah.
like you're both totally in it, like you would for a good game of catch. Now, we recognize the real world exists. Sometimes speakers are they're lucky to throw the ball and remember to say the thing. Sometimes listeners aren't able to dial in. We know that. But when you're trying to do your best, put your best foot forward, we really want you to try to look at it like this and see how you can up your game.
Well, in fact, as we talk about the real world, it's not simply a matter of skills. Because we are influenced heavily by really three things we have found in our lives. First is personality. And personality is amazing. We all have one. We call that
You really have one.
I have an amazing personality. No, I'm so humble.
Right.
If you look up humble in the dictionary, it's me.
Back to the chat.
All right, back to this. And so when you look at the idea of personality, we call that God wiring. It's really before you're even born. If you have kids, you've seen this. We have 4 daughters. They're all so different. They were born no more than 2 years apart, in same city, same parents, and but yet, just their way they view life is so different.
Yeah, when you think about personality, it impacts. Some people are going to speak much more directly, because their personality is a little bit more driven or a little bit more task-oriented. That really changes the way they interact. Another person's personality could be incredibly social. They like to have a lot of people around, or maybe someone likes to have more one-on-one communication. So our communication is drastically impacted by our personality, that God wiring. Also, the family of origin. So what we mean by this is your childhood and your adolescence. What did you learn about communication? How did your family handle dinner time or chore time or communication in general? Because that impresses upon you in a significant way. Now, sometimes we have family of origin experiences. Let's say our family always fought when we were getting out the door. It was always really stressful. And so I'm not going to do that in my family. And when we are leaving, I'm going to stay calm. I'm going to speak kindly, and I'm not going to raise my voice. Well, that's still a family of origin issue, because it's very strong and important to you to do something different than what you experienced in your family of origin. Or it could be that you do it because that's how your family did it. That's all you know. And so that affects your communication in a big way. And of course, this third component is your life experience. And that's since your family of origin, and not because of your family, but the experiences that you had in your lifetime that contribute to your understanding of how the world works. And so this might mean, you know what, I've learned that kindness really does pay off. And to give a personal example for me, I've learned that being relational in customer service type moments have paid off. So I tend to keep my cool, but be incredibly insistent when I have had bad customer service. And Scott knows this. He's seen this many times. I will be kind and I'll stick right with you, but I am going to be pretty adamant that you should refund my money or make this right in some way. And my life experience has shown that that pays off. I have been able to redeem certain situations because of that. Another person could have been, having much worse luck in that area than they would have experienced. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter how you ask for something to be right. The reality is there's bad customer service out there, and you just have to, just roll with it because you can't fix it. And that's their life experience, and that's valid as well. So you have to recognize that that really is underscoring the relationship you have with your spouse, with your children, with your coworker, with your boss, with your neighbor, your own extended family, friends, and friends as well. So what affects your communication? I'd like you to think even right now, which one of these 3 bubbles is surprising you the most or kind of standing out in your heart and mind right now? Like, whoa, that really does put a filter on how I communicate. I want you to think about which one of these. You also might be thinking of a certain setting. Is this taking place for you at work or in home life or church perhaps? And think about another situation where this is really at play. Because I think you can have quite a bit of grace and understanding when you recognize someone else you communicate with on a regular basis is very much filtered and impacted by one of these bubbles.